If you're doing data processing, you need somewhere to store the data while it's being processed. Here's how you do it in today's episode of Hi gang, how the heck are you doing? John Lotshaw, Crackpot Computing here, and welcome to Crackpot Computing's Retrocoding Adventures in COBOL. In this series, we'll be learning how to write programs in COBOL, the common business-oriented language. Before we get started, I want to explain a little bit about how these programs are being written, specifically how they're being formatted. It's an important part of COBOL's history and we need to talk about it. COBOL was created at a time when, well, the main way of interacting with computers was by using these, punch cards. So early COBOL compilers were designed around them. Here's how it worked. Each card had 80 columns of up to 12 rows. The top 2 rows didn't get numbers. Each number on the row, each row was a specific bit, and each column was a single character. You had 80 columns, 80 characters, and this is why early computer screens like CGA and VGA had 80 characters. COBOL divided every line up in a specific way, expecting certain content to be in certain columns. Columns 1 through 6 were reserved as the sequence number area. It wasn't used directly by COBOL, but it was there so that sorting machines could reorder a shuffled deck of cards, like if you dropped them and got them all mixed up, which happened a lot more often than people would like to remember. Column 7 is the indicator area. Depending on what character is in here, it denotes a comment, a continuation from a previous line, or a debugging statement. At the end of the line, columns 73 through 80 are the program identification area. Again, it was used by a sorter to collate mixed up decks. This left columns 8 through 72 for program code. COBOL divided this up into 2 areas, A and B. Area A, which was columns 8 through 11, was reserved for division statements, section headings, paragraph headings, start declarative and end declarative statements, as well as O1 level data statements, which we'll get to in just a moment. Area B is from columns 12 through 72. All the statements, sentences, well, everything else goes in here. Modern COBOL isn't so persnickety about what goes where. This formatting is a legacy of the days when processing power was at a premium and couldn't be wasted on frippery like lexical analysis. Nah, I'm kidding. Although it was easier to write compilers, so programmers did some of the formatting ahead of time.
In the last episode, we created a simple Hello World program, which just prints Hello World on the command line. Let's extend that by accepting some data and doing something with that data.
Okay, to get started, let's bring up Visual Studio Code. And as you can see, we're in the folder where we created our Hello World last time. There it is. Let's copy this and create a copy of it. So we'll paste and we'll give it the imaginative name of Hello2. Now we're going to alter this program so that it will ask us what our name is and then allow us to type in a name, and then it will greet us back with that name. To do that, we need to create a temporary variable in memory. And the way you do that in COBOL is with the working storage section of the data division. So let's go ahead and first thing, let's change this to Hello2 it don't really need to. It's just nice to keep things straight. Then we'll put a little space in here, and we'll set up our data division. And then we'll set up the working storage section. Now we need to actually define the variable. COBOL variables can have sub-variables in them. So you could have, for example, a name, and then under it, as part of that, would be the first name, the middle initial, and the last name. And you could allocate parts of that name variable to first name, middle initial, last. But we're not doing anything that complex. We're just going to have a very simple variable. So it'll be at the top level of variables, which is the O1 level. And we're going to call it WS name for working storage name. Now, we need to specify what kind of data we're going to put in there and how much of it we can take. And we do that with the picture clause. And that will allow us to describe what type of data goes in there. And in this case, we want alphanumeric characters, and those are denoted by the character X, and we want 30 of them. So this will allocate 30 bytes of memory into which we can accept letters or numbers or symbols, exclamation marks, periods, things like that. And then we can use that anywhere in the program. So let's go ahead and start setting up where we accept that and use it. So where we want to do this is here in the procedure division. And the first thing we want to do is put a prompt in. So the computer will ask us a question. So let's put the question in here. What is your name? Now, we're going to add this statement at the end of it. What this will do is it will tell COBOL, do not put carriage return and drop to a new line after you print what is your name. Just sit right there and allow us to put the name in. Now we need to put the name in. So we're going to use accept, and we will tell it to accept data and put it in WS name. Now we need to actually display that. So let's modify hello world. And we want to display WS name. Let's save the file. This should be everything we need to do what we've set out to do. We've defined a variable in memory. We've put a prompt on the screen. Immediately afterwards, we've accepted data and we'll put it in that variable. And then we're going to display a statement and the data that's in that variable. All right, so let's give it a try. COBC is the COBOL compiler. We want to create an executable, that's the -x, and we want to use the freeform formatting, which is the -f, and we tell it hello2.cob, and then we cross our fingers and hit the return key. Okay, we got a blank line and a DOS prompt, and hello2.exe has appeared in our file listing over here. So that means it compiled successfully. So let's see how it works. Let's see if it works and does what we want it to do. So hello2. What is your name? Raymond Luxury Yacht. There, it worked. Now, of course, we could put any name that we want in there. What is your name? James T. Kirk. Now, I'm just curious, what would happen if we put in more than 30 characters? So let's just type out 1, 2, 3, let's see, hello 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. That's 10, 20, 30, 40. Let's see what it does. As you can see, it truncated those last 10 characters, and let's make sure that that's exactly what it did. Let's say this is a really, really long line to test the picture clause size. All right, and now let's hit return. As you can see, it did. It just truncated all of this text here because that is the 30 characters. So, what have we done here? We've created a data division. We've created a working storage section. We've defined a variable in memory using the picture clause. Then we modified our procedure division to accept the name after the prompt, stored it in our variable that we created, and then displayed the variable. This should show the very rudimentary basics of how COBOL uses variables in memory and how to accept keyboard input. In the next episode, we'll take a little more in-depth look at the wonders of the picture clause, and we'll do some math. I hope you're finding this series and this episode to be educational and interesting. We're on a mission here at Crackpot Computing to preserve an important part of our computing heritage, the software side. You can join us by, doing all the usual YouTube things. Subscribe, bell, like, you know the drill. Also, you can help by telling people you know about our series. Word of mouth is the original social media, and it works. So please, spread the word. Until next time, this is John Lotshaw, Crackpot Computing, saying, happy coding.